Madam Chair, and I am sorry that everyone is subjected to me a second time today. I'm going to try to make this quick. In a few of the discussions we've had earlier, we mentioned set-off debt and recoupment. I have a quick report for the Commission on the status of, I believe, 3 issues related to set-off debt and recoupment to report for you today. So, as a quick refresher, for people who are unfamiliar, under 105A3, state agencies like ours are required to participate in set-off debt. What happens is our indigent clients, if they are convicted, may be required to repay the state the attorney fees with expenses at 8% interest under 24-1, and that appointment fee, which is currently $75 that we were just speaking of a moment ago. All of that is subject to recoupment. Recoupment is enforced in 2 ways. Either there is an order to pay as a condition of probation, or the amount is docketed as a, as a civil judgment. And that is enforced through the North Carolina Department of Revenue intercepts of both North Carolina state tax refunds or lottery winnings. And the North Carolina Education Lottery, that's what NCEL is there. That's an unfortunate acronym, but it does mean North Carolina Education Lottery. So here's our recoupment revenues. Every year we receive about $10 million in total PAC funding through recoupment. That translates to roughly 1 month of PAC spending, and usually what happens is this averages to about $5 million through probation and the other $5 million through the civil judgment and intercept process. How this process works is that AOC sends data files to the Department of Revenue, that's DOR. These files contain the total amount owed for the principal debt, the interest, and the appointment fee. Department of Revenue intercepts up to the total amount reported. Unfortunately, I have to report that the data files that are being sent by AOC through e-courts to the Department of Revenue are incorrect. Our research division has found that the principal debt is not being sent by AOC to DOR in the e-courts counties. Only the appointment fee of $75 and any accrued interest is actually being sent. This is especially dire for new judgments. And when I say new judgments, I mean those that have been docketed post e-courts. The reason for that is because e-courts currently cannot automatically calculate interest. Thus, no interest is being calculated on new judgments, and the result of that is that only the appointment fee of $75 is being sent on new judgments in the e-courts counties. This is a chart that summarizes a sample. So the highlighted columns are the interest amount and the appointment fee amounts, and only those amounts are actually being sent to DOR. In just this small sample, you can see that the total that should have been reported to DOR out of this small sample was $3,639.40. What was actually reported to the Department of Revenue was $1,606.57. The amount that was not reported and was not recouped is $2,032.83, which is the majority of the debt in this sample. In each of these cases, the full amount that was reported to the Department of Revenue was fully intercepted. What that means is that there was probably money left on the table. There have been over 3,400 intercepts in the e-courts counties. The number of e-courts counties is going to more than triple this month, and we are at the beginning of tax season, which is when most of our revenues through state tax intercepts actually happen. IDS sent a memo to AOC with these findings on January 19. We were informed that a fee code could be added that would include those principal debt amounts to the Department of Revenue files. We sent a follow-up request on January 26, and to date, we have not been provided with a firm timeline for when this will be fixed. We will continue to follow up and update the Commission as soon as we can. As previously reported to the Commission, unlike the legacy system it replaced, e-courts does not contain an automated means to operate set-off debt. Our research director, Chris Sadler, has custom programmed a basic means for us to continue operations while awaiting a module for e-courts to do that job. We have been using that since the Odyssey rollout that started in February of last year. One drawback with our in-house solution is that until there is automation, all the intercepts that we take in the e-courts counties have to be reported to each clerk's office, and those clerks have to have staff manually apply the intercepts and the funds taken to the judgments. In some cases, there are multiple judgments that go across multiple counties. So there's a multi-state spreadsheet for those, and if the judgments are limited to one eCourts county, they get those judgments on that spreadsheet. It is a laborious process. It is time consuming. The original 4 eCourts pilot counties were provided a list of intercepts and judgments that was created by IDS for them in August of 2023. Every county except for one has to date applied all the intercepted funds to the judgments. If all funds are not applied by tax time, there is an increased risk of duplicative intercepts wrongfully taken because of the failure to apply the funds intercepted last year to the judgments before the intercepts start happening again at tax time. Those intercepts would have to be refunded by IDS with interest and with the $5 Department of Revenue fee, which means it would be a net loss for IDS since the refund we make is greater than the amount we intercepted in the first place. So that's the risk to our budget. The importance of automation for the application of intercepts to the judgments is a critical part of this process. Right now, we're still having to do it manually. We're doing what we can do to make sure that we keep these funds coming in to operate our PAC, but this is the issue, one of the issues that we're facing. The risk to IDS and to the taxpayers grows exponentially as eCourts expands this year and clerks have to continue to manually apply intercepts to judgments. Again, 5 counties have been having to do that. It's about to be 17. And it is almost tax time. There is to date no ETA, no estimated time of arrival on automation. A module we have been told has been in testing for several months, but we don't have any firm details on the results of the testing, how long it's expected to take, or what the functionality is to date. And I know that that's not good news to hear, but we do need you to understand what's happening because this does affect our budget, particularly our PAC fund. I have one more issue, a final issue to report, and that is that all civil judgments for attorney fees in eCourts have to be manually flagged by the clerks as eligible for set-off debt. The acronym there is ESOD, but they have to be manually flagged one at a time in order for that judgment to be sent to the Department of Revenue for intercept. Reports demonstrate that this flag is not usually being applied. This means that debts in eCourts that should be on the files that are sent to Department of Revenue for intercept are not being sent because they are not being flagged. This chart shows the historical average number of civil judgments for attorney fees docketed per month in the original eCourts pilot counties. We get this data from our set-off debt team who give us, this is what we expect on a monthly basis from these counties as far as the number of civil judgments that are eligible for set-off debt. The largest county in this chart of the original 4 pilot counties is Wake. As an example, Wake generally docketed 800 to 1,000 cases per month for our set-off debt team. The reports that we received for the first 7 months of eCourts were generated. At the time of this study, we would have expected 5,000 to 7,000 ESOD cases to have come through in Wake County in eCourts. However, there were only 768 total. We would have expected about 2,800 in Johnston County, and there were only 20. Internal audit performed an assessment recently and found that in one county of 24 judgment for attorneys fees in one of those eCourts counties, only 2 of those were properly flagged as eligible for set-off debt, meaning 22 of the 24 cases were not sent to the Department of Revenue for collection. This non-compliance with the set-off debt statutes was reported to AOC in October of 2023. AOC is producing a means to modify new cases in bulk so that the clerks can do this in one fell swoop. However, the ETA on that is not known. We have followed up. We don't have any more up-to-date information on the estimated time of arrival for that. AOC has asked IDS in their response to learning this information, they have asked IDS to provide the clerks a list of the thousands of cases that need the ESOD flag so that the clerks could review them and decide whether or not to add them. That's going to take some mechanisms in the e-court system that we are working with external partners to get, because we do not have access to those tools. But that is what we are working on so that we can provide that for the clerks. So essentially, most of the cases that are recoupment eligible are not being sent to the Department of Revenue. Of those that are, only the appointment fee and the interest is actually being sent. And I really wish I had a better report for you, but this is something we felt you needed to know. And if you have any questions, feel free to share those now. And I wish I had a better report for you on this. And again, this is affecting e-courts counties only. The legacy systems, to the best of our knowledge, are still operating because there is a functioning automation in the legacy counties. And we are again rolling out to another 12 counties this month. So this problem is getting bigger, and we are very eager for a set-off debt module that will allow automation to correct these problems.